Hey, what's up, gamers? What's your favorite weapon combination? Well, I'm going to go ahead and talk about my favorite in this video. But before we get started, be sure to hit that thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. It helps me out. It will help me push out better content and more content for you guys. That is if you like me and my channel. Okay, let's jump into it. So here we are, guys, and it's definitely going to make a difference what weapons you use depending on what legend you use and what type of game style you have, because if you're a run and gunner, you're probably going to want to use an SMG. But if you're like me, we will get into my weapons and the reasons why I like those weapons here in a moment. But I'm going to start off by mentioning that my favorite legend, and the legend I usually use about 95% of the time, is going to be Bloodhound. And in my recent videos, I kind of talk a little bit about why I like Bloodhound. But in this video, I'm just going to make it quick. I like Bloodhound because my play style goes well with Bloodhound. I like to be able to see enemies in a distance before they see me. And I'll talk about the reason why I like that so much here in a moment. So right now, as you can see, I'm using the Hemlock, which that is my favorite mid-range weapon. And there are several reasons for that. It does pretty good damage. The recoil is not very good until you get a stabilizer on it. So that's the downfall, is if you're running around with a empty Hemlock, you might run into a little bit of trouble. But you got a good stabilizer on it, you're going to have good accuracy. You're going to make some good hits. You're going to do some good damage with the Hemlock. So that is my favorite mid-range weapon. And now there's a lot of different weapons you could pair with it. And here in a moment, you're going to see the weapon I love to pair with it. And I'll talk about why here in a moment. As you can see here, I'm still in close combat. The Hemlock is a little bit weak in very close combat because the damage per second is going to be a little bit lower probably than some of those SMGs or like the R301, fully automatic weapons. Now, don't get me wrong, I do love some of those full automatic weapons. The 301 is a very nice fully auto weapon, but I would still choose the Hemlock over it. Another reason why I like the Hemlock that I forgot to mention earlier, the Hemlock has, it's got a 3-round burst. It's got a little bit of kick when you pull the trigger. And I find that sometimes that little bit of kick will bump your gun up just enough to where 1 or 2 of those bullets in the burst, 1 or 2 of the rounds, could potentially get you a headshot. And that does some lethal damage. I mean, if you get 2 of those 3 rounds hitting your opponent right in the head, you're going to do big damage. Now right here you can see this is my other favorite weapon. And this is the weapon I like to pair with the Hemlock, and it is the G7 Scout. And I like to have at least a 2x, between a 2 and 4x scope on it. That's usually about the sweet spot. And as you could see a moment ago, I was hitting some shots from pretty long range. And now to go into why I like using this weapon with Bloodhound is because you can use his special and you can see enemies from far away with ease. And this G7 does pretty good damage. You know, when you got a stock and stabilizer on it, it's also going to have pretty good accuracy, not a lot of recoil, and you can do some damage with this gun. Right there, 36, 36. That's pretty far damage. 43. So you can really knock some enemies with the G7 Scout. And that is why I like to pair these weapons together, because both weapons are good for mid-range, and then the G7 is also good for long range. But you can kind of get away with not having a close range weapon if you're pretty good with the Hemlock. Now, I've used it so much that I can kind of find a way sometimes if I'm in close combat to take out the enemy with the Hemlock, or I like to, sometimes you might see in a moment, sometimes when I run out of ammo, I'll just swap to the G7 real quick, and it does enough damage to where if you're in close combat and you do some damage, or maybe your teammate does some damage to an enemy, if you swap out to the Scout real quick, you can get a couple shots in and take an enemy out. So all in all, these two weapons are my favorite weapons. I love to use them together, and I think they work very well with Bloodhound. And you'll see in a moment here. You'll see in a moment here we end up winning this match. And this actually turns out to be my best ever match. My highest damage and my highest kills. So Bloodhound with the Hemlock and the Scout. Yeah, guys, I'd like to know what legends you use, what your favorite weapon combinations are. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thanks for watching, guys. We will see you in the next video.